Zoe, I love paella and I love bulgur wheat as well. They go well together. You would think paella is only made with rice, but I'm going to show you how to make it using a grain that people think is really healthy.
I like this. I like this a lot.
All right, I've got the ingredients here for the paella. I'm making a seafood paella this time. Coriander, roughly chop it, keep the roots aside. Chili, slice it nice and fine. Seeds in. And chorizo sausage. I've just got half a chorizo sausage there. Really strong and tasty, but we'll use that as well. I've got a red onion here. We call them Spanish onions. I like them because they're nice and colourful and got a lovely flavour from them.
Did you know in Spain they don't have an onion called Spanish onion?
Apparently so, but I'll tell you what, here in this kitchen, it is a Spanish onion. There we go. Now, I'll just roughly chop some garlic, and I've got my pot nice and hot here. What I'll do is I'll add a good sploosh of extra virgin olive oil.
Nice.
And I reckon a sploosh would equate to about maybe a quarter of a cup, 3 tablespoons, something like that. You want to cover the bottom of the pan with the olive oil. Now, I'm using a particular type of pan here. I call it a rondel, but, you know, because it's got really high sides and a really wide base, I want lots of heat to come up nice and evenly throughout. It's also non-stick, so nothing will stick, provided I control the temperature properly.
Well, you've got all that gorgeous olive oil in there anyway, which the Spanish love. They love their olive oil.
Exactly, but we're using Australian olive oil this time.
True,
now, I've also got to make sure that I've got a lid that fits tightly, which this pot comes with. So make sure you've got all those things together. And the thing about this thing is once you've got that red dot in the centre there, you know it's hot enough to use. There we go.
Makes life a lot easier when you're cooking.
There we go. Now, in goes my lovely ingredients. Onion and garlic go straight in there. Just come straight across there, grab the coriander as well, pop that in there. The chili and the chorizo can go in there as well, and those flavours will come together beautifully. Now, I'm going to add some spices. I've got some smoked paprika, which is a very, very Spanish spice. Got a beautiful flavour to it. I'll make sure I add plenty of that. And I love the colour that it gives as well. I've got some chilli here, about a teaspoon of chilli, some flake chilli, and I've got some saffron. It wouldn't be a paella if you don't have saffron. Very, very Spanish. Then I'll just chuck a whole heap in there, and I'll just give that a stir around. I'll add some salt here. Oh, and when I put my head over there, I've got a big whiff of that chilli, so I know this is going to be quite hot and spicy. Nice. Look, if you're cooking it for the kids, maybe pull back on the chilli. Maybe that's something you don't want to put in there. A good twist of pepper in there as well. And I'm going to put in your diced peppers, which have been skinned. We roasted them over the flames and peeled them so they're nice and soft. And then I'm also going to add some red pepper paste. Now, give that a stir. Now, so if you can pass me over the bulgur.
I can do that.
And I'm going to add 1 cup of the bulgur straight in here like this. There we go. All the way in. Perfect. Just a little bit more than a cup, but that won't matter because I've got plenty of wine. Throw that aside. And what I do is just stir this in. I use it just like I'm using rice. Exactly the same. Now, pass me the white wine and the stock. There we go. And I've got about half a cup to a cup of white wine or a good splush. There we go. I'll save a little bit for the chef for later on.
And the stock?
And the stock. 2 cups of stock. Now, if you bring all that seafood over, I'm going to start throwing it in. Now, I've got a couple of little pieces of shark that I throw in there, and they're on the bone. Okay. I've got some rockling, which I just put around the outside here like this. I've got a nice big piece of blue eye, which I stick in there as well. Some prawns, and of course, calamari, which I love. We get a lot of great calamari down here in Victoria, which is what I love. It's great southern calamari. And of course, some mussels. Now, the mussels, Zoe, I just stick them in like this. You can grab a couple of these. Just stick them so they're sitting up like this all the way around. I reckon I've got about 10 to 12 mussels here. I didn't even bother to count them. But with the mussels, I did take the beards out of them and give them a bit of a wash on the outside. Now, that looks great as it is now. I'll put a little bit more salt on top because fish is, of course, the meat of the sea, and you need to make sure you've got plenty of salt on it. A little twist of pepper, and you can see it's just coming to the boil around the outside here. What I'm going to do is turn this down to a very, very gentle simmer. It'll take about 20 minutes for the bulgur to soak up all those liquids, for the fish to cook. All I need to do is pop the lid on, and when this has got about a minute to go, I've got about a half a cup of peas. I'm going to pour on top of it, pop the lid on, let it steam for a minute or so, and then I'll serve it up. Have a look at that, Zoe.
Impressive.
It's good, doesn't it?
I love the way the bulgur's taken on all the colour.
It does.
Great.
Now, what I've done is I've just taken it off a little bit earlier. I want it to be quite moist. So I've just got a little bit of liquid around the side there. It's sort of like the juice or the sauce that coats everything. There's enough heat in this dish to cook those peas all the way through within about 10 seconds. So I'll put that bowl aside. Look at you with that parsley, a master. There we go. Now, what I'm going to do is spoon some of this out on this plate. And this is my favourite plate in the whole world, this one. It's got a lovely crack down the side of it, but I just can't give it away. I have to keep it. Now, I'll just spoon some of the mussels on here. Now, the thing is, when you're eating the bulgur, it is really, really rich and heavy, so
nice.
it will satisfy a lot of people. So this is a good portion that I think will go beautifully for both you and I.
You're saying that portion's for the two of us. My God, Adrian, who is this person?
This portion's for you and this portion's for me. That's what I meant. But get in there, have a taste of it, and see how you can actually add a lot of flavour to the bulgur, make it really delicious. Oh, it's fantastic.
That is really delicious.
Yep.
I mean, again, always too much salt for me, but I've got to say the flavour of the fish has gone all the way through. I love the pop of the peas, really fresh, the parsley freshens up. Adrian, I love this dish.
So do I.